Hi everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute workshop. This is Matt Sykes, a systems engineer here at Variphy, and I'll be your host for today's workshop. Today we're joined by my good friend Dre Divats, another SE over here. Hey Dre, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing fantastic. How about you, Matt?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. Okay, so for today's workshop, we're going to cover call manager subsets within Variphy. Okay. We're going to start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. We'll jump into a live demo where Dr. Dre will walk us through CUCM subsets and how to use them in Variphy. We'll pause for Q&A and get some of your questions answered. During the demo, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel in the bottom right corner of the screen, not the chat window, but the Q&A panel. I'll be monitoring both, but would prefer them to be put in the Q&A panel. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card, so hang around and see if you may have won. Okay, a quick overview of Variphy. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco collaboration, providing industry-leading CDR use of Contact Center Express and Cube analytics, along with fully customizable dashboards for remote phone control, change management and DID management, and coming right around the corner is going to be support for Zoom phone analytics and dashboards. But today we're going to be focused on the CUCM subsets. We've had subsets for quite some time, but this should be a good demonstration on how to leverage them within your Variphy system. If you have any questions on any of our other features, or if you have any interest in taking part in the Zoom beta testing process, which is happening right now, please feel free to chat me up in the Q&A panel in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, or reach out to your account manager for additional information. All right, one more thing before we get started and kick things off. Variphy does offer a consultative service that provides you a more personalized experience with your Variphy system. Variphy's SE teams will engage with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, unassisted reporting, dashboarding, configurations, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you a dedicated Variphy SE to do all the heavy lifting, giving you a completely hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us, and we'd be more than willing to discuss this in further in depth with you on our enhanced consulting services. All right, that was a mouthful. With all of that said, we're going to head into the wild. So, Dr. Dre, take it away, sir.
All right, hopefully everybody can see the Variphy GUI here. And move this out of the way as well. Once again, Matt, thanks for the introduction. Once again, my name is Dre Divats. I'm from the engineering team, and today we're going to be talking about some CUCM subsets. Now, let's talk about what a subset is when it comes to Variphy. Subsets we can create to be just a little more specific when you're running your as-built or phone macros. Meaning we can create a subset on some CUCM data like device pools, location, partitions, phone model and devices, device names, descriptions, and directory numbers. So let's show you kind of how we can set these guys up, and then we're going to show you how to incorporate them into our as-built or our phone macros. So if you go up to the top right, the gear icon here, and you go to CUCM subsets under System. Hopefully we get there sooner than later. There we go. We got some subsets in here now. So we can create a subset, like I said earlier, to kind of drill down into some more specific data, especially when you're running an as-built. As you know, if you run an as-built, it's kind of a cluster-wide or a snapshot that you could run it from. But let's say you have a large environment and you want to pick maybe a certain partition or a location or just a set of phone models that you kind of want to run them from. We can actually run those from a subset. So when you're at this screen, you can pick your cluster here, and we're going to stick with our Mexico City cluster here. And on the right, we're going to click Add. This might take a minute to pull up. My VPN's a little slow today, but all right. So here is our subset creation page. Here you can give this a test, and we'll just call this like phone models or something like that. Give a little description if you need a little more on there, so you can understand when you're picking this correct subset, you're picking the right one. Let's just do like 88XX or something here, so we kind of know what we're looking at. So below here, you're going to see all our options, like I was telling you earlier, on how you can create these subsets. So right now everything's chosen. So if we click save here, it's going to pretty much pick everything in your environment. But if you wanted to drill down onto a device pool, you would uncheck that any, and then you could select the device pool that you'd want to see maybe in here, and then you would change the name, like, oh, you know, device pool location B or something in the name. So you know, the name actually correlates to what you're picking here. Same with location. You just want to uncheck that guy. If you wanted to do a certain location, you can mix and match these a little bit how you'd want. Same with the phone models. You can select, you know, once I uncheck these, select phone models maybe you wanted to look at, maybe just some CTI ports. If you scroll down, there should be a CTI port right here. Yep, you can just pick CTI ports. So all kind of the devices and phone models in Cisco that you can check. Down here, we got also partitions. You could look them up, just depending on how maybe your system is set up. A lot of people have them by device pools, some have them by location, some have them by partitions. This just depends on how it's set up. And looks like on this one, we have a lot more partitions than anything else. So here you can uncheck this one and kind of select a partition or multiple partitions that you'd want to search for in your as-built, or if you're running a phone macro. And down below, we're going to have some device names. So you can pick like our standard search sets here. You could do contains, maybe like a device name, maybe a SIP or something like that. And then you could just say add, and you can add multiples if you wanted. Say we'll just call them SIP2, so you can have them added here. Device description, same way. You can add multiples if you want. And then also directory numbers, and you can also do a range of directory numbers with those capital X's as well. So if you wanted to do like, let's see, let's say it was a 4-digit and you wanted to look at like all the 7,000 series, or 7,000 series, 7,000 DNs, then you can put those in there like that. So just for today, we're going to delete that guy, and we're gonna just leave those all running here. We'll just call this for now all devices, just so we know kind of what we created here. I'll go ahead and save that. All right, so now we have our all devices subset right here. So on this screen, you could actually go over here and click on this all phones, and this is going to pull up all the phones that were in your subset that you created. So if you had different partitions and things, it's going to show you just those phones within that, in that group of partitions or location or phone models and things like that. So we don't have a ton in here, but now you could just see a quick overview of those devices in the subset with the description, device pool, location, line number, extension, partitions. Really nice way to kind of get a quick overview of your those phones and your subset. So if we go back to subsets, there's another way to create a subset. And this is going to be this bulk create here on the top right. If you click create this bulk create, what's going to happen is it's going to create a different subset for each device pool that you have in Call Manager. So let's say you wanted to see all your 8851s and where they're located in a device pool. You can bulk create this search set. You hit OK at the top. And you're going to see once this finishes, I think we had 4 device pools in this cluster. I believe it was 4 or 5. Still waiting down here once we get that. There we go. So you're going to see here these bulk creates. So it's going to tell you for each of those locations, it just separated those out within device pool. So we had device pool default, device pool location B and C. So a way to kind of separate if you are doing it by, if you're wanting to drill down into device pools, a nice easy way to bulk create these guys and put all the phone models or a certain amount or just one phone model within a device pool. And then you can actually go and view all these phones. We might not have many, maybe 1 or 2 in each of these. this a second here. No, there's might not be anything in the default one. Forgot which device pool we have those all in, but you understand if I click, all phones back here on our all phone subset, you can click all phones and see those. But you would have the same thing, but with how our system's set up, our device pools are, we don't have a ton of them. And then you can also see what phones are controllable by our remote phone module. So if we go back to our subset, we created the all phones one. If we click controllable phones, hopefully we have some in here that are controllable. And we do not. I know we had a cluster. Let me check just so I can show you how these work.
Try the Colorado corporate one.
Yeah, I think where was that one? We had a bunch in there. Let's try this mistakes one. And it's name mistakes, and I'll show you why it's name mistakes. Well, first, let me just give you guys a quick overview on how here we go. So now you can get all the supported phones that are able to be controlled by a remote phone control module within Variphy. So pretty easy way to create a subset depending on how you kind of want to drill those down. So how do we use them? We have them created here. A way to use them was to view them all and view the controllable phones, but how do we incorporate those into our as-built and to our phone macros? So we're going to head over to our as-built reporting. And let's go ahead and change this cluster to our Mexico City one, just because we created that as-built report there, or the subset there. So here, if you're not familiar with their as-built reporting, this is where you can create those system reports within your call manager to see device pools, all your call managers, things like that. There's a bunch of content options here that you can search from. But you give it a title, whatever that title could be. You can actually filter. So if we wanted to look at like phones, we could say phones, SCCP and SIP. And down here at the bottom, this is where that data visibility is going to come into and how you want to see this. So most of the time it's run cluster wide. So if you have 5,000 phones, it's going to pull everything from all those phones. But like I said, if you wanted to look at a device pool or our subset we created, we would click on this subset here, and then we could actually select one of the subsets that have been created. So here we would create the all phones one, and I actually have a saved document on this one I wanted to show you. So this is like the as-built report that would have run with all the info from that type of as-built that you ran there. So a lot of info in here, pretty much all the phone options in here, which is a lot. But it does give you a good amount of info, especially if you're running this for a large data set, especially cluster wide. This could take a long time to run. So it is really nice to be able to drill these down, use those CUCM subsets, and drill them down to, a particular device, location, even DNs, so makes it a little less stress on the system and easier for you and not have to wait too long for these reports to run. So. All right. So what's the other way to able to use these CUCM subsets? So we're going to head over to our phone macros under our remote phone control module. And here you can see actually all the subsets we had here. So once again, we can click those all devices subset. So this is going to select all those devices that we created. But if you had a device pool that you just wanted to run a macro on, if you wanted to change a background or ringtones or anything like that for phones or ITL deletes, you could do them by device pool, or a set of DNs and things like that. Some important things though here, we can actually create a new subset when you execute this macro. And the reason why we'd want to do this, especially for this right here, if we check this, which we do recommend, if you're running a macro, just in case someone is on a phone, it doesn't reboot. If you're running a macro with a reboot, it has to reboot, we don't want those to be rebooted while somebody's on a call. So we check this to make sure that skip those phones. But then down here, we have an option to create a new subset for unsuccessful phones. If they were on the phone, if the phone was maybe unregistered at the time or whatever, and we couldn't get to that phone, we can name this subset like missed phones or oops, can't type today, failed phones. You would execute that macro. So if all the macros came through, that subset wouldn't be created. But if it have some phones that were failed, it would create that subset. So then you can go back and pick that subset that was created. And let me show you. Well, actually, it should be here. I thought I saw some ones that saw a mistake. I think it was on the other um, cluster, but let's take a look real quick. Those mistake ones I saw. Let's see. Colorado. Here's our mistakes. So this was created during a macro execution. So it's giving you those devices, and you can actually go look at those devices and say, oh, which ones failed? So here's all the ones that failed if we ran the macro. So then you can go back to your macros, rerun just the failed set so that you can make sure that all those macros did run for the set that you wanted them to run to. And then you can run it again. Let's say you're running a mistakes. Let's say this was a mistake subset. You can name it mistakes 2, just to make sure that all those phones did get pushed, those macros got pushed to it. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it was pretty quick, but subsets are pretty easy to create, and you just create them on your own, how you want them in your environment, how you want them to be ran. And if you're running a lot of as-builts, being able to kind of drill those down a little easier instead of running a cluster-wide subset. Matt, we got any questions out there so far?
A little bit, yeah. Fantastic job as always, Dre. But did you say steak there a few minutes ago? Did I catch that?
Steak?
You were saying mistakes. I'm just teasing you.
Oh gosh, I mean,
We
steak
do
sounds good. Steak sounds good.
we do have one question, yes, and Justin proposed this to us. And if you wouldn't mind, keep your screen sharing up because I want you to actually navigate to the call manager reports in a second.
Sure.
Justin's question was, I apologize, let me dig this up. There's too many screens here. There we are. Not necessarily related to the call manager subsets or the CUCM subsets, but is there any kind of way to organize your reports for people who set up and manage them to avoid being overwhelmed by all the reports that they've created within the system? I do believe development has in the hopper that should be coming down the pipeline. Not certain when, so don't hold me to that, but I believe we're going to provide kind of some folders or some directories for additional kind of report management within the Variphy application. So not here yet, will be on down the line. So what I would say is in that instance, what you can do within the Variphy reporting analytics to kind of mold that would be to kind of, as Dre to showcase here. He unchecked these shared reports that has access to everybody and who all created them. But if he just searches by my reports only, if your eyes look at one of the columns on the far right once this loads up, that the owner is going to be only for Dre. And if I were logging with my account, you'd only see my reports. So that would be my recommendation to kind of go ahead and manage that for yourselves at a kind of a report kind of manager level within Variphy. Outside of that, for more user groupings and stuff like that, we don't need to dig into that, but certainly for specific users and or groups that want to have access to the Variphy platform, we can specify what reports they can have access to. So we can certainly do that. So if you have any additional questions or concerns on that, certainly feel free to reach out to support@variphy.com. We'll be more than willing to discuss that with you.
That's actually a good idea, though. I would guess that the the admin user would probably only be able to see those user reports. I don't think, unless we would set up a user option for users to see other users or something like that too.
Well, there is the shared report toggle within every report.
Right.
So if
Oh, that's a good point.
if the user and or group has access to the quote unquote shared report toggle within their user profile settings, then they should be able to see that toggle right there. That toggle in every report profile will allow it to be shared out with users of the system that are deemed quote unquote report users. All right, good video representation there. I'm going to steal the wheel back. Unless there's any other questions or concerns at the moment, audience here, I haven't seen any other questions trickle in. If you wanted to go ahead and present them to us, go ahead and chat them to us at this time. I'll give one moment before I steal the reins back from Dre. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the reins back here. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. And the winner, let me just get past this page here. The winner of this week's $50 Amazon gift card for the workshop is Devin Thomas. Woo! Congratulations,
Woo!
Devin. Your account manager will be reaching out to you shortly to get you paid. Okay, for everyone else on the horn here, don't forget to join us next week where Victor and myself will showcase Variphy's new Zoom Phone Analytics with a focus on the on-premise installation. Variphy Zoom Phone Analytics will be supported in our upcoming 14.0 GA release due out in a few weeks, but we are currently offering the 14.0 beta for public availability right now. So if that is of any interest to you, please contact beta@variphy.com or reach out to your account manager and we can respond accordingly. Okay, so thank you everyone for taking your time and joining us today. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Take care all. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Dre.